They wanted you broken. You feel it, don't you? That ache, that deep gnawing pain buried in your chest. It's been there for so long, hasn't it? The betrayal, the abandonment, the laughter echoing behind your back while you staggered through their maze of lies. They wanted you shattered, crushed, erased. But here's what they didn't see coming. You didn't break. Instead, they lit a fire inside you. And every time they ignored your cries, every time they turned their faces away, they poured gasoline on it. They thought they were burying you, but all they did was give you roots. Now look at you. You've become something they can't control, a storm they can't contain, a monster they built with their own hands. Let me ask you something. What's worse, the one who stabs you, or the one who holds the blade and just watches? Think about that. They held the blade, didn't they? They didn't strike outright. That would have been too honest. No, they let you bleed, slowly, pretending not to see the pool of blood forming at their feet. But here's the part they didn't expect. You got up, and that's where they screwed up. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a dog, loyal, trusting, tied to a post. Its so-called family throws it scraps, just enough to keep it alive, but never enough to fill its belly. And one day, they stop feeding it altogether. They laugh, thinking it'll wither away and die quietly. But that dog, it snaps. It chews through the rope. It turns wild. And when it does, it's not the same anymore. It's hungry, and it remembers who kept it chained. You're that dog, aren't you? Chained, mocked, starved of what you deserved. But guess what? The chains are gone. And now, you're loose. You've got a hunger they'll never understand. And that hunger, that's your weapon. Weak people, they run from pain. They flinch. They avoid it like it's some kind of disease. But you walked straight into the fire. And you came out covered in scars. Wear them. Own them. Because scars are proof. Proof you survived what they couldn't. Every scar on your skin, every scar in your mind, that's your armor now. And do you know what terrifies them the most? You're still standing. Oh, they'll act like they're not afraid. They'll keep laughing, mocking, pretending you're still weak. But deep down, they're terrified. Terrified because monsters don't follow rules. Monsters don't care about approval. Monsters don't forgive. And you're the monster they created. Think about it. They pushed you to the edge over and over again. They threw rocks while you were drowning, and now they're shocked that you're not offering to save them from the tide. It's ironic, isn't it? The moment you stop bending, stop begging, stop bleeding for them, they call you dangerous. But let me tell you something. They don't get to define you anymore. You do. The world loves to preach forgiveness, letting go. But why? Why should you forgive people who would burn your house down just to feel the warmth? Why should you let go of the pain that made you powerful? You don't let it go. You keep it. You sharpen it. Every betrayal, every laugh, every time they spit in your face, you turn it into fuel. Let them underestimate you. Let them think you're still the same person they tried to destroy. Because when you rise, when you finally show them what you've become, you won't just scare them. You'll destroy everything they thought they knew. You'll become their nightmare. So stop playing their game. Stop trying to prove yourself to people who wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire. Prove yourself to you. Look in the mirror and ask, what's next? Because they already threw their best shot at you. And guess what? You're still here. They wanted you weak, but all they did was expose their own cracks, their own fear. And now it's your turn. So rise, rebuild, and when they look at you with fear in their eyes, don't flinch, smile, because nothing scares them more than seeing you untamed, unstoppable, and unbroken. They don't fear the fall. They fear the rise. They don't fear the fall. They fear the rise, the comeback, the person who gets up every single time. That's you. You've been knocked down, humiliated, broken, but you didn't stay down, did you? You rose, and that scares them. So stop wasting your fire on people who don't deserve a second glance. Use it to build something untouchable. Build yourself, because monsters aren't born. They're built by betrayal, by pain, by the people who thought they were untouchable. But you're proof that monsters can be made. You're not a victim anymore. You're the thing they'll spend the rest of their lives running from. Let them run. You think the world has rules? Think again. Rules are stories, myths told by those with power to keep it. They spin their lies about order and fairness to keep you obedient, to keep you small. But here's the truth. Chaos doesn't follow rules. Chaos breaks them. And you are chaos. You are chaos now. They can't control you anymore, and that terrifies them. That's why they'll whisper behind your back, call you reckless, dangerous, try to shove you back in the cage they built for you. But once you've tasted freedom, no one can chain you again. Think back. Remember the whispers, the fake smiles, the hollow compliments. Every single one was designed to keep you in line, to make you believe you needed them. But now you see through the mask, and that terrifies them. They love their routines, their little bubbles where they feel important. But you shattered the illusion. You refused to break. And that shakes them to their core. Because if you can survive everything they threw at you, then what excuse do they have for crumbling under pressure? Let me tell you about someone. Call him Charlie. Charlie was a nobody, dead-end job, barely scraping by. Spent his life trying to please people who didn't care if he lived or died. Sound familiar? One day, Charlie's boss decided he didn't like him anymore. No reason, just bored. So he piled on the pressure, blamed Charlie for everything. And Charlie? He kept his head down, tried to make it work, until he didn't. But Charlie didn't snap the way you'd think. No yelling, no punches, no scenes. Instead, he did something far scarier. He started thinking. He realized he was playing someone else's rigged game, a game he was never meant to win. So Charlie quit, walked out without looking back. Everyone called him crazy. 6 months later, Charlie was running his own business, and his old boss, bankrupt, alone, forgotten. That's the power of walking away, of letting silence speak louder than words, of using your pain to fuel something unstoppable. You think your scars make you weak? They don't. They make you dangerous. They make you real. Because pain changes people. It sharpens them, turns them into weapons. And you're a weapon now. So let them talk, let them doubt you, let them pray you never rise again. And then, rise anyway. Prove them wrong without saying a word. Make them regret every time they underestimated you. Because success isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. Success is silent, ruthless, unstoppable. And so are you. This is your call to rise. They tried to bury you. They forgot you're a seed. So grow, rise, break every chain they put on you. Prove them wrong with every breath you take. Build yourself so powerful that they never dare to doubt you again. Your silence is your weapon. Your resilience is your revenge. Now go. Show them who you really are. You were never weak. They just thought you were. They smiled in your face, called you a friend, a partner, a brother. But when the knives came out, they didn't hesitate. They stabbed you in the back and left you bleeding. And now they think you're done, finished, broken. Let them think that. Let them laugh. Let them celebrate. Because they have no idea what's coming. You feel it, don't you? That fire burning inside you. That rage clawing at your chest like a caged animal desperate to be set free. They told you to bury it, to hide it, to pretend it's not there. But listen carefully. Rage is not your enemy. It's your weapon. Use it. Sharpen it. Hone it into a blade so sharp it cuts through their lies and their chains. But here's the secret. You control it, not the other way around. Fire can burn everything to ash, including you if you let it. Balance is the key. Be the monster they fear, but never let them see you lose control. Keep them guessing. Keep them scared, because fear is power. And power, that's what they fear most. They'll call you names: heartless, cruel, insane. Let them. Their words are chains they'll try to wrap around you again and again. But you've already broken free, haven't you? And once you've tasted freedom, you can never go back. Remember this: people only try to destroy what they can't control. They whisper behind your back because they're terrified of what you might do next. While they waste their breath, you'll be building something they'll never understand. You're not a victim anymore. You're not begging for scraps at their table. You're flipping the table over, setting it on fire, and walking away without looking back. So here's the real question: what are you going to do now? Are you going to spend your life proving yourself to people who never cared? Or are you going to prove something to yourself? Are you going to let their laughter haunt you? Or are you going to use it to light your path forward? Because the truth is, they owe you. They owe you for every tear you shed, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt they shoved down your throat. They wanted to break you. Instead, they built a monster. So be that monster. Be the shadow they can't outrun. Be the nightmare they can't wake up from. Be the reminder that no matter how hard they try, they'll never erase you. You see, survival isn't enough. The greatest revenge isn't surviving, it's thriving. It's becoming everything they said you couldn't be. And doing it so loudly, so unapologetically, that they can't ignore you. So take everything they said you couldn't have. Build something they can't destroy. And when they come crawling back, begging for forgiveness, don't give it to them. Don't forget who you are now. You're not tired, are you? No, not even close. Because this isn't the end. This isn't where your story stops. This is where it begins. The pain, the betrayal, the humiliation. That wasn't your downfall. That was your foundation. You see, most people crumble under the weight of it all. Life throws a few punches, and they stay down. But you got hit harder than most. Life didn't just punch you, it beat you into the ground. And yet, here you are, still breathing, still standing. Do you even realize how rare that is? You're one in a million. Most people don't have the stomach for it. They don't have the will to crawl their way out of the darkness. But you don't just survive the darkness. You thrive in it. You've made it your home, your sanctuary, and that terrifies them. Because people hate what they can't control. And let me tell you something about people. They love masks. They pretend to be good, kind, and caring. But peel back their masks, and you'll see the truth. Fear, self-interest, weakness. They'll tell you they want the best for you. That's a lie. What they really want is to keep you small, manageable. Because the moment you rise, the moment you show them you're more than they thought, you become a threat. And threats, they can't have that. So they try to break you. A comment here, a betrayal there. They chip away at you hoping you'll crack. But you didn't crack, did you? Number. You rebuilt yourself from the ground up. Stronger, sharper, unstoppable. Now it's time to make them see it. No more silence. No more apologies. No more begging for scraps. This is your moment, your rise, your reckoning. Make them feel every ounce of the pain they tried to bury you with. Make them choke on their own words. Show them that the monster they created can't be tamed. Because the greatest revenge isn't hiding in the shadows. It's stepping into the light and letting them see exactly what they tried and failed to destroy. They called you names: monster, villain, outcast. They painted you as the bad guy in their story because it was easier than admitting the truth, that they failed, not you. But here's the thing about villains. Villains don't play by the rules. Villains don't beg for approval. Villains win. You see, the world doesn't reward strength. It doesn't celebrate resilience. No, it praises conformity. It rewards obedience. Those who keep their heads down, who stay quiet, who never challenge the status quo. But you broke free. You shattered their mold. And That is your greatest weapon. They'll tell you you're too much, too angry, too intense. They'll try to shame you, push you back into the little box they built to keep you small. Don't you dare let them. Do you know why they fear your anger? Because it reminds them of everything they've buried. They fear your intensity because it exposes their mediocrity. And they fear your strength because it shines a light on their weakness. But you're past caring. You've seen the truth. You've felt the knife in your back. You've carried the weight of their lies, their betrayals, their empty promises. And now you're done. Done playing their game. Done living by their rules. Done apologizing for who you are. That's what makes you dangerous. That's what makes you unstoppable. Because monsters aren't born. They're made, forged in fire, built from the ashes of everything they've lost. You didn't ask for this. You didn't want this, but they left you no choice. Now you're the thing they fear most. Not because you're cruel, not because you're evil, but because you're free. Free from their control, free from their lies, free from the chains they tried to wrap around you. Let me tell you something about freedom. It isn't given, it's taken. You have to fight for it, claw for it, bleed for it. But once you have it, oh, there's nothing sweeter, and there's nothing more terrifying to those who tried to keep you down. They wanted to break you, to see you fall apart, to watch you disappear. But instead, you rose. You took their hate, their betrayal, their cruelty, and you turned it into power. Now they're afraid. Afraid of what you'll do, afraid of what you've become. They built a monster, and they don't even realize it yet. But they will. Oh, they will. You don't owe them anything. Not your forgiveness, not your understanding, not your time. They made their choices. Now they have to live with the consequences. You're not here to make them feel better about what they did. You're here to make them remember, to remind them of the cost of underestimating someone like you. Be the monster they fear. Be the nightmare they can't escape.
But most of all, be the proof that no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't break you. And here's the truth. They didn't come after you by accident. It was deliberate, calculated. They smelled it, that strength, that fire inside you, the thing that sets you apart. It threatened them. Even before you knew you had it, they could see it, and it scared them. People like that, they don't attack the weak, they ignore the weak. They go after the ones who make them feel small, the ones who remind them of everything they lack. That's why they came for you, why they chipped away at you, why they threw everything they had to bury you. They thought if they broke you, it would prove something. But all they proved was how fragile they are. Because you're still here, still breathing, still fighting. And them, they're running scared. Do you know what scares them the most about you? It's not your anger. It's not your strength. It's not even the fact that they couldn't break you. What scares them is the truth. You don't need them. They spent so long convincing you that you were nothing without them, that you needed their approval, their validation, their scraps of attention. But now you see through the lie. You don't need their acceptance, their fake smiles, their hollow words. And that is the ultimate power move. Because once you stop needing them, they lose all control over you. You're free now. Free to rise, free to rebuild, free to prove, not to them, but to yourself, that you were always enough. So rise. Rise from the ashes, from the pain, from the betrayal. Let your silence be your roar. Let your success be your revenge. And let them choke on every word they ever used to tear you down. Because you were never the villain. You were the storm. And now it's time they learn to fear the thunder. They tried to bury you, but you grew roots. Let me tell you something about fear. It's not the shadows in the dark or the heights that make your stomach drop. Real fear is losing control, realizing that everything you trusted was a lie.
That's what you represent to them. A reminder that control is an illusion, and it terrifies them. They thought they had you figured out, thought they could predict your every move. But you're not who you used to be. You've become unpredictable, unstoppable, a storm they can't outrun. And now, they're scared. Scared of what you'll do next. Scared of who you're becoming. They need you more than you ever needed them. They need someone to blame, someone to look down on, to feel better about their own pathetic lives. Without you, they're just ordinary. And ordinary people, they fade. They vanish. But not you. You were never ordinary. That's why they hated you. That's why they tried to tear you apart, because you didn't fit into their little box. But here's the thing about boxes. They're easy to break out of once you stop believing you belong in one. You don't fit their mold, you never did. And that's your power. Every scar you carry, it tells a story. Every wound, every betrayal, it's all written in your soul. But those scars, they're not weaknesses, they're battle marks. Proof that you survived what they never could. Proof that you're still here. So now what? Now, you turn their weapons into your fuel. Every insult, every betrayal, every dagger they drove into your back, you light them up. Burn so brightly that they can't look at you without remembering what they did, without choking on their regrets. You rise, and when they see you standing tall, unbroken, it'll destroy them. Not because you're cruel, but because they'll realize they helped create the force that now overshadows them. They'll drown in their shame. And that's justice. You're not just surviving anymore. You're thriving. Taking back every piece of yourself they tried to steal. Your strength, your confidence, your fire. And you're doing it on your terms. They wanted to break you. Instead, they built armor around you. Armor forged from their own cruelty. Now you're ready. Ready to take everything they said you couldn't have. Ready to be everything they said you couldn't be. Because the greatest revenge isn't surviving. It's thriving so loudly that they can't ignore you. It's becoming the nightmare they can't wake up from. They don't want you to know who you've become. They want you blind, stumbling in the dark. But you're not that person anymore. You've been tempered, hardened. Do you know what happens under pressure? Steel is forged, diamonds are made. You didn't break, you mastered it. And now you're dangerous. Because you know how to wield that pressure. You know how to use it. But let me ask you, what are you going to do with all this power? Waste it proving something to them? Beg for their apologies? Or are you going to build something so untouchable, so unstoppable, that they can't even reach you? You owe them nothing. Not your anger, not your forgiveness. Nothing. They don't deserve space in your mind, but you do. You deserve to own every inch of your soul, to build yourself into the person they never thought you could be. And here's the best part, they can't stop you. They already threw everything they had at you, and you're still here, still standing. So what's left for them to do? Whisper, gossip, throw stones from behind their glass walls? Let them. Their noise means nothing now. People like that, they thrive on reactions. They need the drama. But when you stop reacting, when you stop giving them power, they crumble. They fade into nothing. Because without you, they're nothing. Silence is louder than any scream. Your silence will echo in their minds long after you've moved on. They'll spend sleepless nights wondering why you stopped caring, why you stopped giving them the power they thought they had over you. And while they're drowning in their regrets, you'll be building a life so far out of their reach, they won't even understand it. That's the ultimate revenge, not fighting, not yelling, but succeeding so loudly that they can't ignore it. You don't need their validation. You don't need their empty apologies, because they don't matter anymore. They're relics of a past you've outgrown, and every step forward, it's a reminder that they failed. They wanted to break you, but instead, they built you, gave you the tools to rebuild yourself into something stronger, something better, something untouchable. And now you're the storm. the monster they created but can't control. And monsters, we don't play nice, we don't ask for permission, we take what's ours, we carve our own paths. So go, take it all, be everything they said you couldn't be, and when they see you rise, when they see you unbroken, they'll realize the truth. They didn't break you, they built a legend, now prove them wrong.